Our story begins with a system notification. The mightiest ultimate Tycoon system is activated. Congratulations, host. You just received today's random reward, 1 million nether tokens. Balance, 9,755,000,000,000 nether tokens. Task 1. First purchase in progress. Spend at least 100,000 nether tokens. Reward. Cash. Card X1. Soul Purification Liquor. X10. Our protagonist, Yulin, wakes up after hearing the system's voice. It has been 3 years since he was brought back to life and received the system. A second chance at life and a system, just what a person needs to make it in life. However, he has 9 trillion nether tokens. But the catch is, he has to die before he can use them, and only a fool would want to die again. As he thought this, he was suddenly surprised to see blood on his washroom mirror. He wondered what the hell this was. However, the blood changed into text, saying, "Congratulations, you have the opportunity to join the 5th closed beta test of Global Menace. The dungeon will start at 12 p.m. Yulin was confused and wondering what this was. It wasn't a prompt from the ultimate Tycoon system. The system is in his mind, and he knows what it says without reading the words. That means these bloody words aren't from the system. When he touched the blood on the mirror, he suddenly felt like something was trying to summon him. And this thing's touch gave him a grisly, cold, eerie, bloody, yet familiar vibe. However, he calmed himself down, thinking, the game's going to kick off at 12 a.m. tomorrow. The bloody words say it's the 5th closed beta test, so this game must have been around for a while. He wondered if there was info about this game online. He just needed to figure out what the hell it was first. A moment later, he searched on Woogle for Global Menace, but didn't find any reliable information about it. But suddenly, he noticed a post about the Notice of Global Menace Closed Beta Test, which said, "Dear friend, if you've received the blood invitation, I regret to inform you that Global Menace is real. Those unexplained incidents in different locations are linked to the return of Global Menace players. The newly established Number 9 Investigation Center was actually created by the government to look into the Global Menace issue. People selected by the game will enter a dungeon crawling with vicious ghosts. These ghosts will kill them the moment they break the rules set inside. At least half of the players die in each dungeon. However, the survivors will gain the chance to control the ghosts and their objects within the game. To die or to live, it depends on your strength. Good luck." After reading the post, Yulin wondered if the presence of ghosts in the game implied their existence in the real world too. Joining the beta test might be a good idea if he could gain the ability to fight ghosts in advance. Plus, with the system he possessed, he might have a better chance of surviving. Maybe even the nether token system is linked to this gruesome game, he thought. However, at the end of the day, he could only rely on himself. If he wanted to survive, he must seize every chance he got. At midnight, 12 p.m., Yulin prepared everything he could, saying, "Given the short notice, this is the best I could prepare." When the watch struck 12 p.m., suddenly, a bright light appeared in front of Yulin, and the floor he was standing on started cracking. After that, a system notification popped up in front of him saying, "Welcome to Global Menace. Title of the dungeon, Underworld Inn. Task, work hard and survive for 2 days. Players in the dungeon now, 6. Yulin, after landing in the Underworld Inn, thought, "So this is the Underworld Inn?" Suddenly, other players also appeared. Other than Yulin, there were 5 other players. Some were confident, some were calm, and some were nervous. Yulin, after seeing the others, wondered, "Are these the other players in this dungeon?" An old man, noticing the others, said, "Looks like everyone here is new except for me." After hearing this, the purple-haired girl approached the old man and asked, "This isn't your first time, is it, sir?" The old man replied, "Exactly. I was in the 4th closed beta test, and I go through this every 2 weeks. This is my 5th time." Both girls were really surprised after hearing that this was the old man's 5th time in the underworld. The old man then raised his hand and said, "Don't take this lightly. I barely made it out each time. Newbies have a very small chance of surviving," he said, and asked them to look at his hand. "This is the price I paid to save myself." Both of the girls were scared after seeing this. However, Yulin, very curious, approached the old man and asked, "It's impressive that you survived so many dungeons, sir. Do you mind giving us newbies some tips?" The old man, noticing Yulin's calm demeanor, thought that he still had his wits about him and perhaps could survive this. He explained that the ghosts in Global Menace don't kill people at will. As an old-timer, I have 2 tips for everyone. First, the ghosts only kill the rule breakers. Second, the basic rules are presented to the players in a plain and simple way. Yu Lin, after hearing this, thought, pretty much what I found out yesterday. I can trust him on that. But he might be keeping certain precautions from us. Driven by the will to survive, he's very likely to use us as cannon fodder. Suddenly, everyone heard a door opening sound, and they all turned to look at the door. A creepy old man started approaching them. He came close to everyone and said, "Folks, welcome to the Underworld Inn." The creepy old man introduced himself as the bookkeeper, here to assign them tasks at the lady boss's command. Everyone was really scared, thinking this old man was so spooky. He must be a wrathful ghost, they thought. The bookkeeper explained that before they got to work, he would give them a brief overview of the inn's rulebook. Yulin, after hearing this, thought, "Here comes the death rule that can't be violated in Global Menace." The bookkeeper explained, "First and foremost, whether you are assigned to the front desk or the kitchen, you must be dedicated to your job. If you slack off, the boss will surely give you a hard time." Yu Lin, after seeing the bookkeeper's expression, thought, "It looks like the bookkeeper is also scared of his boss. That means his boss is a wrathful ghost more powerful than him, and she won't show mercy, even towards her own employees." The bookkeeper then explained the second rule. Everything in the inn is old and in disrepair, making it susceptible to damage. So even a minor scratch will come out of your own pockets. And thirdly, do not offend the customers. If you do, the boss won't punish you. However, most of our customers are quite touchy, and they'll find an excuse to rough you up without the boss coming to your rescue. After explaining the rules, the bookkeeper asked if anyone had any questions. However, everyone was so scared that no one dared to ask any questions. Seeing this, the bookkeeper said, "Okay, I'll assign the work then." He pointed his finger toward the old man and said, "Hey you, the big guy with the brawny shoulders, you look pretty strong. Go to the kitchen and help the cooks. Turn left when you enter, and you'll see the kitchen." The old man, after receiving his assignment, started walking toward the kitchen, but not before asking everyone to take care of themselves. After that, he went into the inn. After that, the bookkeeper approached the purple-haired girl and the yellow-haired boy, saying, "You lucky dogs are responsible for cleaning the guest rooms. Enter the inn and turn right, and ask Mrs. Zhang for the cleaning tools." Then he approached a middle-aged man who looked like an office worker and said to him, "You appear to be well-read. Go up to the second floor and wait in the room marked Bookkeeper. I'll show you how to reconcile the accounts." After assigning tasks to the others, only Yu Lin and the pink-haired girl were left. Yu Lin wondered what task would be assigned to them. The bookkeeper approached Yu Lin and the pink-haired girl and said, "You kids have pretty tender skin and good looks. You two can handle the customers in the lobby. You don't need anyone teaching you how to take orders and serve food, do you? Keep walking after entering the door. The lobby is just ahead." He smiled towards them and added, "I hope you kids tread carefully. Don't make any mistakes. Got it?" The pink-haired girl stood trembling in fear. However, Yu Lin grabbed her hand and started running towards the inn. The pink-haired girl thanked Yu Lin for earlier and told him that she is from the Li family. Yu Lin replied that he would call her Li, and she could call him Lin. However, he didn't reveal his real name, remembering that the player with the beard didn't introduce himself, so he thought it better not to say their full names. Miss Li thanked him for the reminder and went into the lobby. Miss Li, after seeing the empty lobby, asked Yu Lin what they should do next. Yu Lin explained that they would wait to greet the customers, knowing there's no time for fear. With their lives at stake, every step matters. After that, he started walking towards the door. Suddenly, he got scared after seeing a really big green monster. Saliva started dripping from its mouth after seeing living humans there. Yu Lin was a little scared after seeing him. However, he introduced himself and welcomed the guest. The ghost was deeply disappointed upon learning that Yu Lin is a waiter. If he hadn't spoken, the ghost might have mistaken them for a walking buffet. After escaping the ghost, Yu Lin realized that the global menace truly lives up to its name. Danger strikes very quickly. The green ghost sat at the table, which began to creak because it was old. Yulin was relieved that he didn't break the bench, or it could have gotten them into trouble. The green ghost gave Yulin 2 copper coins and asked him to get a pot of hot water first, and then fetch a bowl and chopsticks. Yulin said, "No problem," and started heading into the kitchen to get the items. However, after seeing the copper coins, he realized that they looked similar to his own. As he looked at the pots and other items, he thought, "If my eyes aren't playing tricks on me, those tableware pieces look so creepy." Miss Lee tried to help Yulin, but he stopped her, saying, "The teapot is heavy, let me do it. We can't afford to make a mistake and offend our customer." But when Yulin lifted the pot, it suddenly started crying and asked Yulin to kill it. Miss Lee got scared after seeing this, and the pot started spilling hot water everywhere. Because of this, the pot slipped from Yulin's hands and broke. Miss Lee asked Yulin what they should do now, and wondered if they should hide it. After seeing Miss Lee's reaction, Yulin was impressed that she didn't hurry to distance herself because he had broken the pot. Yulin said that he didn't think hiding it would work. Suddenly, the bookkeeper approached Yulin from behind and said, "You're so clumsy, young man. You broke the teapot right away. That teapot is worth 50 copper coins." He smiled and said, "I doubt you can afford it since you just started working. So pay with your right hand that broke the teapot." After saying this, the bookkeeper attacked Yulin. Meanwhile, Miss Lee, after seeing this, started screaming. Yulin stopped the bookkeeper and said, "Who says I can't afford it?" He asked the system to withdraw 50,000 nether tokens and convert them all into copper coins. Suddenly, a system notification popped up saying, "You've withdrawn 50,000 nether tokens. Balance, 9,754,999,950,000 nether tokens." The bookkeeper stepped back, visibly scared after seeing a really bright aura emanating from Yulin, and wondered, how can this human boy have such pure yin energy within him? It's even thicker and purer than mine. No, even the boss's. Meanwhile, Yulin retrieved the copper coins from the system. He threw 1,000 copper coins towards the bookkeeper and asked, "Is that enough?" The bookkeeper was surprised and wondered how it was possible for Yulin to have so much money. He grabbed the copper coins with his mouth and thought, 1,000 copper coins are enough to buy my life. If he promised the customer 1,000 copper coins to get rid of me, they'd be more than happy to oblige. Even the boss herself would gladly do the same, and he already has 5 threads of copper coins even now. There's no way he's a newbie. Meanwhile, Miss Lee was really surprised to see that the ghost was actually shocked by Yulin. After seeing the bookkeeper's expression, Yulin thought that even a ghost was subconsciously awed by the ultimate Tycoon system. He was startled by just 50,000 nether tokens. Imagine if he knew I have 9 trillion in my account, Yulin thought, smiling at the realization that his system was probably more powerful than he had thought. However, he noticed that based on the bookkeeper's reaction, the ghosts are clearly bound by the rules and cannot kill people for treasure. Then he picked up the 1,000 copper coins from the ground and handed them to the bookkeeper, saying, "Just take it and keep the change. You're a bookkeeper, aren't you the best at dealing with money?" However, the bookkeeper, with a trembling voice, said that it was too much money for him, and he couldn't accept it. Yulin urged him to keep the change, as he had tasks to finish. Yulin was assigned a task by the system. First purchase. In progress. Spend at least 100,000 nether tokens. Reward, cash card. X1, soul purification liquor. X10. Note, the system values the teapot of yin energy at 100 nether tokens. The system's premium settlement limit is 100 times the value, meaning any amount exceeding 100 times the teapot's value is not considered in the consumption task for the cash card and the soul purification liquor. Yulin understood that the compensation counted as consumption. While the cash card was useful, the soul purification liquor sounded like a big deal. He wondered if it might be related to controlling the ghosts and becoming a ghost commander. Even if money can solve many problems, the rules might blur at any moment. To stay safe in this world, they must ultimately rely on their own strength. While the rules of this dungeon are still clear, he must complete those system tasks promptly. Then, Yulin grabbed a plate from the side and asked the bookkeeper, "How much is this plate worth?" The bookkeeper replied, "It's worth 100 copper coins." Yulin grabbed all the plates and threw them to the ground, breaking them. Miss Lee and the bookkeeper were surprised by Yulin's bold move. However, Yulin handed all the copper coins he had withdrawn from the system to the bookkeeper and said, "Take this as my compensation, sir. As for the extra, I'm new here. It would be great if I could make friends with you and everyone else at the Underworld Inn." After witnessing this, the bookkeeper thought to himself, regardless of who this boy is or what he wants, he's definitely my big opportunity. He bowed in front of Yulin and said, "I'm not worthy of being your friend. But if you ever run into any problems, I will always be there to lend a hand." Yulin, after hearing this, simply replied, "Sure," and told him to keep the money. Yulin saw this as an opportunity to spend some money and complete the system task. But suddenly, he heard a voice saying, "Please stop right there, sir. You have to follow the rules. If you break something again, we won't be able to run our business." It was the lady boss's voice. Hearing the lady boss, Yulin thought to himself, "She doesn't sound like a wrathful ghost. She seems gentle and kind-hearted. Looks like my money got her talking. What a shame I can't spend more money this way." After that, he got the hot water pot and approached the guest, saying, "Sorry to keep you waiting, sir." He thought to himself that if the guest complained, he would just compensate him with money. However, the green ghost became really polite and told Yulin not to worry, as he was not in a hurry at all. Everyone was surprised to see the sudden change in the ghost's behavior. Meanwhile, the green ghost was thinking, putting his wealth aside, even I can't touch those things just by grabbing them like he did. Some big shot probably provided him with a spatial tool of yin energy. I can't afford to offend a human like him. Yulin smiled, seeing it as a good opportunity to spend money. He said to the green ghost, "No matter what, it's my fault for making you wait for so long. How about I pay for your meal today?" The green ghost, embarrassed by the offer, said he would be grateful. Yulin told him, "Don't worry, feel free to order anything from the menu, my friend." However, Yulin was disappointed because even the most expensive, nourishing soup of yin energy only cost 100 copper coins. The spending power in this newbie dungeon was incredibly weak, to say the least. The green ghost, feeling a bit bold, nervously asked Yulin if he could order one portion of everything on the menu. Upon hearing this, the bookkeeper said he would go inform the cooks to prepare one portion of everything. Yulin, disappointed, instructed the bookkeeper that there should be no dishes under 30 copper coins, and to prepare 2 portions of every dish above 30 copper coins. The green ghost and the bookkeeper were both really happy after hearing this. The bookkeeper calculated all the dish money, and the total came to 830 copper coins. He asked Yulin if they could round it up, and Yulin agreed, giving him 1,000 copper coins. Everyone was shocked to see that Yulin had already spent 60,000 nether tokens, but he still had a long way to go to complete the system task. Miss Lee, after observing Yulin, tried to ask if he was rich. However, before she could ask, Yulin got a great idea. He grabbed Miss Lee by the shoulder and said, "You came just in time. I need a favor." He had her stand outside, with a board, announcing that all dishes were free for the day. As a result, many ghosts came to eat the free food, and thanked Yulin for his generosity. If not for him, we would never have access to so much blood essence. Thanks to him, we can strengthen our yin energy, saving us a ton of effort and tears. And that pure and rich yin energy on his copper coins? They're spanking new! Not everyone can get copper coins like that. Perhaps the Ghost King hand-picked him as his spokesman, and he's throwing cash around to get his name out there. One of the female ghosts wondered if Mr. Lin was married yet. Another asked her if she wanted to marry him. Meanwhile, Yulin was enjoying his time with his ghost friends. However, Miss Lee was surprised and wondered, "Isn't Lin a newbie? How does he have so much money?" Yulin asked Miss Lee to take a break and told the bookkeeper, "Please get Lee one nourishing soup of yin energy and leave the money at the front desk." Finally, he had spent 100,000 nether tokens cumulatively. The system congratulated Yulin on successfully completing Task 1, First Purchase. The rewards, a cash card X1 and soul purification liquor X10, had been sent to his item inventory. He asked the system to open the item inventory and saw the soul purification liquor, which promotes soul strength and spiritual awareness upon consumption, and enhances the level of a ghost commander or ghost. Ingest up to 3 bottles. Further consumption is ineffective. This was exactly what he needed right now. Only when you're as fierce as a tiger can you hold the reins to your own destiny like a boss. Might as well strike while the iron's hot. I'll chug that soul purification liquor and become a ghost commander right now. When Yulin opened the purification liquor bottle, every ghost present in the inn started smiling, enchanted by the fragrance of the purification liquor. All the ghosts were really surprised and wondered what elixir it was, noting its exceptional purity and thickness of yin energy. Mr. Lin's background is truly mind-boggling, they thought. Yulin smiled and approached everyone. Standing on a branch, he said to everyone, "Guys, here's to all of you." Then he drank the purification liquor. After drinking, he started feeling such pure and bone-chilling spiritual energy in his body, and wondered, is this the yin energy itself? After drinking the purification liquor, he received a system notification. Soul purification liquor used. Spiritual awareness plus 10. Spiritual force plus 100. You've attained spiritual awareness and can now use the attribute panel. He asked the system to open his attribute panel and saw that he was a level 1 ghost commander with a spiritual awareness of 10 and spiritual force of 100. Yulin was surprised and thought, just sipping on that liquor gave me spiritual awareness and boosted my rank up to level 1 ghost commander. He realized that the soul purification liquor reward was truly top-notch, and he received a new task. Wondering what rewards will I get this time, he thought. Task 2. Splurge your money. In progress. Spend over 320,000 nether tokens in one go. Reward. Ghost contract. Primo. X5. Seeing the reward, Yulin thought, I'm already a ghost commander. With the Primo Ghost contract, I can assemble my own spectral squad. I've got to figure out a way to tackle Task 2 ASAP. But as he was thinking about how to complete the system task, the green ghost noticed, Mr. Lin doesn't strike me as a strong man, but he's so generous and even carries that kind of spiritual liquor. He must be some big shot whose soul got damaged. I degraded to a ghost because of my stubborn streak, so being flexible is what I need. I'm only doing this to return Mr. Lin the favor. It's not brown-nosing. Absolutely not. He stood from his seat and said to Yulin, Mr. Lin, I hope I'm not being too presumptuous, but may I consider you as a brother? He explained that he really appreciated Mr. Lin treating him to such a delightful meal. He then took a mirror out of his bag and handed it to Yulin, saying, This is a yin energy tool. I don't know its level, but I'll gladly offer it to you. He had owned this mirror for years, but never really knew how to use it. All he knew was that when someone infused it with yin energy, it could reveal different ghosts and nearby gathering points of yin energy. Upon receiving the mirror, Yulin thought, what a peculiar tool of yin energy. This mirror doesn't seem to reflect anything. But suddenly, a system notification popped up saying, Tool of yin energy detected. Dragon soul locking mirror. The system has bonded it to you. The green ghost tried to please Yulin, saying, I think its true value isn't as obvious as it seems. It would be wasted in my hands, but it could come in handy for you. Yulin responded, Absolutely. This dragon soul locking mirror is the real deal. It'll be extremely useful. The green ghost was surprised and thought, he really understands this enigmatic tool of yin energy. Then Yulin opened his spatial treasure and placed the dragon soul locking mirror inside. Everyone was shocked to see that Yulin had a storage spatial treasure. They realized that there was no way Yulin was just an ordinary person. He must have entered a deeper realm. They wondered exactly where he came from. All the ghosts realized that they had to do everything they could to curry favor with Yulin, whether that meant flattering him, buttering him up, or going to any lengths necessary. The old ghost called out to Yulin, saying, Sir, I've got a treasure for you too. Yulin smiled, approached him and asked, What do you have for me? Yulin was pleased, thinking that he was merely completing his task by treating them to meals. Who knew he'd be receiving gifts from heaven in return? The old ghost retrieved a skull necklace from his storage and gave it to Yulin, explaining that he had acquired this necklace of grudges from the ghost market. Wear it, and it will shield you from the yin energy onslaught of a ghost at the general level. Your soul will stay safe. It can also store yin energy and counterattack if necessary. The system has also bonded it to Yulin. While not as advanced as the mirror, practical offensive and defensive treasures are what he needs the most right now. The other ghosts, who didn't have decent tools to offer, just infused a bit of their yin origin energy into the skull necklace. After receiving so much yin energy, Yulin felt like a river flowing with power and strength within him. He thanked everyone for giving him such precious gifts. All the ghosts, with big smiles on their faces, responded, "You're more than welcome." Meanwhile, Miss Lee was surprised to see that these ghosts were more obsequious than the underlings who sent her dad paintings and calligraphy. Is this really the global menace? She wondered. Later, they closed the inn. The bookkeeper thanked Yulin, because today's turnover was over 5 times higher than usual. Meanwhile, Yulin was staring outside, observing the environment. He realized why those ghosts had to make a hasty retreat before nightfall. With the dwindling yin energy outside, it's unsafe to roam around. Suddenly, he heard the lady boss's voice saying, "The day shift is over for today. Come to the lobby and get ready to eat, everyone." Yulin realized that they were about to meet the other ghosts in the inn. However, he knew they might not be as amenable as the bookkeeper. Meanwhile, Miss Lee wondered how everyone else did today. But suddenly, a blood text appeared in front of Yulin and Miss Lee. Both of them were really shocked to see that there are only 4 players remaining in the dungeon now. It's only the first day, but 2 people have already died. The dungeon survival rate in Global Menace is abysmally low. Thanks to the Nether tokens, Yulin is safe for now. But if he had been slightly slower, he could have lost an arm just now. And those friendly and flattering ghosts would have racked their brains to hang him up if he hadn't treated them to some grub. The upside is that, along with the foreign object Nether tokens, he wonders if there's something inside him that can protect him. The bookkeeper explained that they're going to eat here later. It's a tradition at the Underworld Inn. But suddenly, a voice from behind him said, "Why the heck are you being all polite and courteous to a little munchkin?" This is another ghost who works at the Underworld Inn, and the purple-haired girl we saw at the beginning is with that female ghost, but she is in really bad shape. Miss Lee and Yulin were really surprised and wondered what happened to her. And she's not with the yellow-haired guy, they noted. After seeing Yulin and Miss Lee in perfect shape, the purple-haired girl asked, "How come you're still in one piece?" Upon closer inspection, they saw she had many scratches on her body. However, she was really jealous after seeing both of them in pristine condition. Out of fear, she sat in a corner. Yulin, after seeing the purple-haired girl, realized that she was really jealous of them. However, he didn't care, because he knew she wasn't capable of hurting him. But suddenly, he noticed that the staff at the Underworld Inn don't seem to get along very well. The bookkeeper and the female ghost were fighting each other. The bookkeeper said to the female ghost, "What do you know, you stupid cow? You may enjoy tormenting your helpers, but I have to accumulate merits." Then the female ghost turned toward Yulin and asked, "Hey you, busboy, why aren't you clearing the table? Are you trying to skip out on your duties? Since the bookkeeper is such a wimp, I'll step in and show you the ropes at Underworld Inn." Then she started attacking Yulin. The purple-haired girl began smiling, thinking, finally they will feel the same things I feel. However, Miss Lee was worried about Yulin. But as the female ghost attacked Yulin, a protective shield covered his entire body and saved him. The skull necklace, given to him by a ghost as a gesture of goodwill, saved his life. However, the female ghost, after seeing the yin energy tool, became really scared and quickly retreated. Yulin smiled and thought, just as I expected, with her third-rate tormenting tricks, she's nowhere near the ghost general level. The female ghost was really surprised to see that Yulin had a Class B tool of yin energy as a trump card. Realizing she was no match for Yulin's Class B tool, she sat on a table peacefully. However, Yulin knew that she now harbored a grudge against him. Given the opportunity, she would kill him without question. He survived today because those ghosts didn't know his real strength. He realized that if he couldn't take out Mrs. Zhang, the female ghost, he feared the bookkeeper and even the boss in the shadows would see that his strength was just a facade. By then, the treasure within him would be his downfall. He thought that he must find a way to get rid of this female ghost. Suddenly, everyone heard a sound. Then, they saw another powerful ghost approaching them. Both the bookkeeper and the female ghost were really scared of him. Yulin, after seeing him, thought, this man must be the cook. Judging by his spiritual awareness, I guess he must be more powerful than Mrs. Zhang. The old ghost asked the man in the green jacket to put the pot on the table. This man was the one they had seen at the beginning, who had already cleared 2 beta test games. However, Yulin was surprised to see that he had lost his left hand. The old ghost asked everyone to dig in, But after seeing the food, everyone was really surprised, wondering what kind of food it was. The chef ghost approached the purple-haired girl and asked if she didn't like his food. The purple-haired girl, scared, said, "No, I like it," because if she said she didn't like it, he would kill her. He was really happy after hearing this and encouraged everyone to eat. Yulin asked the man whose hand had been cut to sit next to him, while the chef ghost sat at another table with his drink. Yulin realized that apparently questioning the cook's skill and not eating his food would activate the condition for him to kill. As the chef ghost poured his liquor into the cup started crying, saying the liquor was so sour and bitter. However, the chef ghost told it to shut up and started drinking. Suddenly, after seeing the chef ghost, Yulin got a great idea. When the chef ghost noticed that Yulin wasn't eating his food, he asked why he wasn't eating and questioned if he didn't like his food. Yulin smiled and stood up from his seat, taking the drink cup from Chef Ghost's hands. "Sipping on that harsh booze must be quite the challenge for your taste buds," he said, then threw the drink on the ground. Everyone was shocked, wondering, does he have a death wish or something? That little jerk? Upon seeing this, a female ghost thought, "Now I don't have to get my hands dirty. His necklace can't do squat against that horrendous fellow." Miss Lee was also surprised, wondering why Yulin did this, especially since the cook's expression showed he disliked the liquor. Chef Ghost, angered, asked Yulin if he was trying to provoke him. However, before Chef Ghost could attack, Yulin took out the soul purification liquor from his storage and said, "How could I? Your cooking is excellent, so you must have the palate of champions. I can't bear to watch you swallow this terrible wine." He poured the soul purification liquor into a cup and offered it to Chef Ghost, asking him to try some. Boli also got excited because of the soul purification liquor. After seeing Yulin's gesture, Chef Ghost thought, if anyone else dared to provoke me, I'd give him a good old slap across the face. But he's right. Compared to the watered-down booze at the inn, his liquor is top-notch. He sat on the branch and decided, I'll give it a shot then. As he drank, his whole body relaxed, as if he were taking a massage in a hot spring. The yin energy is so pure that it not only purifies his soul, but also amplifies his strength. He is really satisfied with this drink. Yulin knows nothing works better than soul purification liquor to bribe him. So Yulin offers him another bowl of soul purification liquor. As he drinks another bowl, his body becomes lighter and his head clearer, exclaiming, "This is divine liquid." Yulin, seeing Chef Ghost like this, thought simply, seeing my empty bottle, he shifted from guzzling to sipping, to savor every drop. It seems that the liquor is more effective than I gave it credit for. So he asked the system to get him another bottle. Chef Ghost was surprised to see that Yulin had more of this amazing hooch. Yulin gave the drinks to Chef Ghost, who thanked him and called him brother. Everyone was surprised to see this. The bookkeeper and female ghost were both in great shock, thinking, how could he call that rascal brother? The female ghost realized that she had to kill Yulin. He's only a human. How can he be compared with a ghost? Meanwhile, Yulin used this opportunity to rid himself of the female ghost. He said to Chef Ghost with a sad face, "It's a shame." After seeing Yulin's sad face, Chef Ghost asked him why. "We've got this top-shelf booze, after all," Yulin explained. "You can't savor the full flavor of this liquor if you have it alone. If only we had food to go with it." Chef Ghost agreed with Yulin, got his sword, and said, "I'll whip up some nourishing grub right now." But Yulin told him with a sad face, "I know you're a good cook, but those second-rate ingredients can't do justice to your culinary skills. And how can the yin energy of humans surpass that of ghosts?" The female ghost realized that Yulin was targeting her. Yulin turned his head toward the female ghost and smiled, saying, "Making ghosts the ingredients. Sounds nice, right?" After hearing this, Chef Ghost stood up from his seat and said, "You bet your ass it does. Brother, why have our paths only crossed now?" He glared at the bookkeeper and female ghost. The female ghost became really scared and asked Chef Ghost, "What are you doing? I've never offended you. We all work for the inn. You can't break the rules." Upon hearing about the rules, Yulin realized that the native ghosts in Global Menace must obey the rules for killing humans and ghosts. The bookkeeper took advantage of the opportunity and blamed the female ghost, asking her, "Didn't you forget that you attacked my brother earlier? You stirred the pot for nothing and overstepped your authority with your helper. You broke the rules at the Underworld Inn first. However, she tried to defend herself, saying, "You're just making things up to get back at me. But she lost her patience and attacked the bookkeeper. Chef Ghost stopped her with his sword and smashed her into the wall. In severe pain, the female ghost called out to Chef Ghost, "Jiangju! Even if the boss put him in charge, he shouldn't be able to kill like this." However, Jiangju explained, "The rule at the Underworld Inn is not to mess with the staff during mealtime." But she broke the rules first. And this fellow is a hard-working, friendly, and excellent employee. "That adds up to more guilt," he exclaimed. As he spoke, he pulled out his sword and killed the female ghost. Yulin, unable to believe his eyes, watched as the cook dispatched her in one stroke. As he retrieved the body of the female ghost, he asked Yulin to save the booze for him, saying he was going to take care of the ingredients. Witnessing this, Yulin realized that the cook was much stronger than he thought, and he could relax tonight without worrying about Mrs. Jiang's female ghost surprise attack. However, he also realized that the bookkeeper was obviously using Mrs. Jiang to test him. So he approached the bookkeeper and retrieved liquor from his storage, saying, "Mr. Lee, thanks for looking out for me today. May I offer you a toast?" He thought he had to seize this chance to make an example so that he would never try to test him again. Meanwhile, the bookkeeper, very scared, thought, "This kid not only has a lot of money, but he's also scheming enough to manipulate the cook into offing Mrs. Jiang. From his expression, I'm positive he's seen through my trick. What should I do if he tells Jiang that the food isn't enough? If he drinks the liquor, he'll definitely be in trouble when the cook returns. But he'll also be in trouble if he turns down his toast, even though he has more than one jar of this liquor." Suddenly, he had a great idea. He could give him his treasure. That's what happened earlier today. Yulin made toasts, and the ghosts gave him treasures in return. He might be rich, but he doesn't seem to turn down gifts from others. So he retrieved a mysterious green wooden block and offered it to Yulin, saying, "Years ago, I once stumbled upon something." Yulin smiled, seeing that the bookkeeper was already terrified of him. The bookkeeper explained that it's called petrified wood, an excellent material for crafting tools of yin energy. This chunk of petrified wood is top-tier material, over 1,000 years old. Its value is no less than that of a Class A yin energy tool, he added. The system also recognized this 1,000-year-old petrified wood. Yulin realized that this was truly extraordinary. Now, he didn't have to worry about completing his consumption task. Yulin smiled and said, "It's indeed good stuff, Lee. How much are you selling it for?" The bookkeeper spoke in a trembling voice. "How can I dare ask for money for a gift? Please just take it." However, Yulin wanted to take this opportunity to spend some money. He said to the bookkeeper, "That won't do. I'm a man of principle. How could I take something so precious from you for nothing?" Surprised, the bookkeeper wondered if this was the rule for Mr. Lin to survive in this world. In this world, rules must be obeyed in order to live or kill. However, revealing this is a taboo. You can guess and avoid it, but if you ask him directly, you'll offend him and appear threatening. So he asked Yulin to just give him a number. Yulin got 3 threads of copper coins and gave them to the bookkeeper. Shocked, the bookkeeper said, "This isn't trading a treasure for my life." He became really happy, thinking, "This is my lucky break. With these 3 threads of copper coins, I can wrap up my contract with the boss, a whole 10 years ahead of schedule." He knelt down in front of Yulin, saying, "Thank you for giving me a second chance to live." Everyone was really shocked to see this unimaginable scene. Miss Lee was really happy, thinking Yulin is truly amazing. Other players were also surprised, wondering how this new player could actually make a wrathful ghost kowtow to him. Suddenly, an old man thought, could it be that he's from one of the great exorcist families? Just then, a system notification popped up saying, "Spend over 30,000 nether tokens at one time. Congratulations on successfully completing Task 2. Splurge your money. The reward, Ghost Contract, Primo, has been released." Yulin was really happy to see that reward. With the Ghost Contract, he would be able to command ghosts to fight for him. The Ghost Contract, Primo, stated, "Upon signing the Ghost Contract, the ghost becomes available for use regardless of the user's level. The ghost will exhibit unwavering loyalty and obedience while remaining unable to betray the user. This contract is valid for the duration of the user's lifetime." After reading the description, Yulin realized that the Primo Ghost contract was indeed different, because ordinary contracts couldn't achieve this worry-free result. As he saw the bookkeeper, he thought, I can't waste a good thing like that on a wimpy ghost like him. He dismissed the bookkeeper and thought, if I get the chance, I'd better use this opportunity on a high-level ghost. Meanwhile, Chef Ghost had also finished making the dish with ghosts. He served the dishes in front of Yulin and said, it's my first time cooking this, though. I'm not sure what it tastes like. But come and have a try, buddy. As Yulin began to eat, he thought, he really knows his stuff. I can't see what the ingredients are, but with yin energy in it, it's undoubtedly a booster for both ghosts and ghost commanders. As he ate, a system notification suddenly popped up. Wrathful Ghost Essence consumed. Spiritual Force +1. Yulin was amazed to realize that ghost meat really does boost his spiritual force. Turning his head toward Chef Ghost, Yulin said, the food you make is really delicious. It's not only tasty, but also nutritious and hygienic. Chef Ghost was really happy to see that Yulin liked the food he made. Both of them cheered and started eating. As Yulin consumed Wrathful Ghost Essence, his spiritual awareness began increasing. After finishing his food, Yulin was satisfied. Just one meal, and his spiritual force skyrocketed to 197. Meanwhile, Chef Ghost also got drunk. Upon seeing Chef Ghost, Yulin thought, this guy was supposed to be the biggest threat in this dungeon. Who would have thought I'd get this windfall after getting him hooked on soul purification liquor? Suddenly, the boss lady announced that mealtime was over and asked the bookkeeper to take everyone to rest. Upon hearing this, Chef Ghost was really disappointed, saying, too bad, buddy. I guess that's all for today. As he started going to his room, Yulin told him that he would meet him tomorrow. However, Yulin noticed that Chef Ghost doesn't seem as terrified of the boss as the bookkeeper does. The bookkeeper asked everyone to clean up the table and go to their rooms. Yulin, smiling, thought he should also help everyone clean up. However, before he could start, the boss lady asked Yulin to meet her on the 3rd floor. Yulin was shocked that the boss lady could communicate with him directly, wondering if she was somehow linked with his mind. However, Yulin realized one thing. To protect himself, he could only splurge money in this dungeon. Just as he thought, he had caught the lady boss's attention. She must be the final boss of this dungeon. He wondered what awaited him upstairs. Would it be good or bad? Moments later, he reached the room where the boss lady was. As he entered the room, he saw a beautiful lady sitting on the bed. Surprised, he realized she was the lady boss of the Underworld Inn. He took a deep breath, thinking she couldn't kill him right away, given the rules here. Gathering courage, he started walking toward the lady boss and asked her why she had brought him here. The lady boss replied, your presence has graced my establishment, yet my eyes played tricks on me, so I sent you to wait on customers. I hope you won't blame me for that, Mr. Lin. Surprised, Yulin couldn't believe that the lady boss of the Underworld Inn was apologizing to him. Yulin told the lady boss that she didn't have to worry, as he could gain more life experience that way. However, he realized that this woman was a more powerful, wrathful ghost than Jiang, and she was not as simple-minded. He knew she must never discover his secret. The lady boss smiled, saying he could experience life all he wanted, but his actions had taken a toll on her business. However, Yulin replied that he had paid her 10 times more for the broken dishes. Yet, the lady boss was not satisfied with this amount. To her, it was just peanuts. What mattered more was Mrs. Zhang, who had served her for over 100 years before her death. Upon hearing this, Yulin tried to explain, it's indeed a shame that the cook dealt with her like that. But I'm just a new waiter here. It wasn't my place to intervene when the 2 senior staff started fighting for no reason. The lady boss became really angry with Yulin, saying, no matter how rich you are or why you came to the Underworld Inn, I won't go easy on you for inciting a fight among my people, which killed one of my staff. Yulin smiled and asked the lady boss what she wanted. The lady boss explained that Mrs. Zhang was the beating heart of this inn, and her business couldn't thrive without her, so he must pay for shattering her soul. She asked for compensation. Yulin laughed, thinking it was money she was after, so he asked the lady boss how much she thought was appropriate. After a moment, she asked for 20 threads of copper coins, but then suddenly increased the amount to 50 threads. Disappointed, Yulin thought that the biggest number she could think of was 50 threads, equating a wrathful ghost's worth to 500 teapots. So he asked the system to use his cash card. Suddenly, a system notification popped up saying, "Cash card used. Your next consumption will generate 10 times the money you spend." And the next moment, it started raining money. He said to the lady boss that he would give her 100 threads of copper coins, and from now on, the cook would work for him. What do you say? The lady boss was shocked to see so much money, thinking, "This young man is so rich that he wants to buy my cook?" However, Yulin noticed that these wrathful ghosts were mere money-making tools for her. And he could see that Jiang wasn't happy here. Jiang was a complete powerhouse, simple and straightforward. And Yulin could use the Primo Ghost contract with him regardless of their level difference. This was the best choice for Jiang, himself, and even the lady boss. The lady boss, surprised, thought, "I can't believe he set his sights on that klutz from the depths. But as strong as he is, he's nothing more than a cook to him." She wondered if she could sell him. So she explained that the cook had been working for her for years, and that she couldn't run an inn without a cook. Therefore, she asked Yulin to pay more. Yulin smiled and asked the system to cash out 1 million nether tokens. He then told the lady boss that he would give her another 100 threads of copper coins. She was really happy to see so much money and agreed with Yulin. She took out the contract from her drawer and handed it to Yulin. The contract read, "I, Jiangju, willingly volunteer to work for the owner of the Underworld Inn. This contract shall become null and void when I successfully earn 1 million threads of copper coins of yin energy for the Underworld Inn." Yulin, disappointed, thought to himself, Jiang's true value is 150 threads of copper coins. Yet, on the contract, he has to earn her 1 million threads, which is tens of millions of nether tokens. Since the priciest dish here is only 100 copper coins, Jiang's freedom is just empty talk. He smiled and thought, "I'll never make empty promises. That's right, I'll just make the contract permanent." The lady boss explained to Yulin that all he had to do was destroy this contract, and then the cook would be free. But she warned him, saying she couldn't guarantee he would make a new contract with him. However, Yulin replied that she didn't have to worry about that. He'd figured out a way. Suddenly, Yulin stopped and asked the lady boss, "If I were to sign a contract with you, or buy the whole inn, how much would you charge me?" Upon hearing this, the lady boss replied that the Underworld Inn and she were not for sale. She apologized for disappointing him. Yulin realized that, in Global Menace, money can't buy everything. He thanked the lady boss and started walking out of the room. Meanwhile, the lady boss, disappointed, thought, "What a quitter. Why didn't he insist a bit more? Maybe I would have agreed. Whatever, I have a hunch I'll see him again," she mused. Moments later, Yulin reached the room where other players were resting. Miss Lee was really happy to see Yulin again. However, others were not that happy. The purple-haired girl thought, "I can't let my guard down. This guy's just as scary as a ghost." Yulin told everyone that he had just made some deals with the lady boss of the inn. Shocked, everyone thought, not only can he get along with the cook, but he also gets treated like an equal by the lady boss? The old man asked Yulin, "According to the instructions I've received, you should be a newbie. Are you from a hermit family?" Yulin sat down and explained that he was not from a hermit family. He had just come across some unique experiences and learned some skills. The old man realized that such people actually exist. He'd only heard about them on the forum. Yulin asked the old man if the closed beta testers of this game have a forum for chatting. The old man said yes. That's what he planned to tell them all. He asked if they all knew about the government's newly established No. 9 Investigation Center. Miss Lee replied that she'd heard some rumors and asked if it was really set up for Global Menace. The old man confirmed it and explained that they could call Center No. 9 when they're out, and an officer would contact them afterward. The officer would provide players with some help, like information and channels, to exchange tools of yin energy. But in return, their identity would be recorded by the state, and they'd be obligated to report what they've seen and heard in the game. Basically, they'd be an unofficial agent. The old man was already one, just like many others. After all, if you become a formal ghost commander and contract your own ghost, you have a chance of becoming an official agent. Then you can team up with other official agents, which increases your survival rate in the game big time. Yulin asked if they would have to enter the game regularly in the future. The old man said yes. Every 2 weeks, players would be summoned into the game at midnight. He'd heard that some skilled players would pay a certain price to come in as extras because, as you know, as treacherous as the dungeon may be, it's chock full of golden opportunities. Yulin asked, besides the number 9 investigation center, if they could also interact with other Global Menace players on the forum. The old man said yes. It's an anonymous website run by a high-level ghost commander. Yulin, curious, asked why it was anonymous. The old man explained that one of the rules of Global Menace is that after you leave the dungeon and return to reality, others won't be able to recall what you look like. So the government prepared the forum as a buffer for players who don't wish to expose their identities. The old man asked if anyone had more questions. Everyone said no and went to sleep. Meanwhile, Yulin asked the system to open the system panel. The notification popped up. The cash card has taken effect. You spent 2 million nether tokens last time. The random cashback is 5 times the money you spent. Congratulations on acquiring 10 million nether tokens. He smiled and asked the system, "What's the new task?" Task 3. Keep splurging. In progress. Content. Spend money on 3 objects whose individual value exceeds 100,000 nether tokens, with a premium of 5 times the true value. You are not allowed to raise the price by yourself. 03. Reward. Cash card X1 Yin Origin Extract X5 Soul Restraining Talisman X10 Soul Crushing Talisman X10. The next morning, Yulin woke up feeling refreshed. Despite having stayed up all night cultivating, he wondered if the quick transition to daytime in the ghost realm was a perk of being a ghost commander. Surprisingly, he didn't feel tired at all, even though the previous night's escapades had left Mrs. Zheng 6 feet under and the bookkeeper scared out of his wits. While Jiang bore no grudges against him, nothing else had happened during the night, just as he had thought. As the others woke up, Yulin noticed that everyone was alive, though they didn't seem to be in the best of spirits. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. The other 3 looked scared, but Yulin reassured them as he opened the door. "Don't panic. The bookkeeper is probably just coming to assign today's work." With a big smile, the bookkeeper greeted, "You're up, Mr. Lin." Yulin asked him where the cook was, to which the bookkeeper replied that the cook was working in the kitchen. Hearing this, Yulin started heading toward the kitchen. The bookkeeper tried to tell him about his duties, but then said, "Forget it. Someone like Mr. Lin doesn't have to follow the inn's rules anymore." He then called to the other 3. "Get to work. Don't just stand there like dummies." However, the old man didn't hear him, thinking to himself, "That's what the master from a great family is like." Meanwhile, Yulin reached the kitchen and saw the chef ghost busy at work. The chef ghost, upon seeing Yulin, excitedly told him, "I just made bone broth. Come and try it while it's hot." Yulin, seeing the bone broth soup, declined politely. "I'm good." But he added, "Actually, I came to talk to you about some actual business." Confused, the chef ghost asked Yulin what business he wanted to discuss. Yulin asked Jiang if he was willingly working as a cook at the Underworld Inn, to which the sad chef ghost replied, "You see right through me." He explained that back in the day he was considered a bigwig in the depths of the ghost realm, but fell prey to a scheme. After some twists and turns, he was teetering on the edge of death. He had no choice but to take refuge with the lady boss of the inn. Although his injuries have healed in recent years, the lady boss is a nasty piece of work. He made a contract with her, so now he is stuck here. He can't lay eyes on the vast world or savor the sweet nectar of great wines again. Yulin asked him, "What if I give you one more chance? Would you be willing to follow me and make a splash in both worlds?" The chef ghost replied disappointedly that the lady boss wouldn't let him go, but he suddenly got surprised as Yulin showed him the contract with the lady boss. Yulin showed him 2 contracts, the previous one with the lady boss, and the new one, written to be at Yulin's command of his own free will. Shocked, the chef ghost asked Yulin how he got this. He tore the contract paper with the lady boss and said to the chef ghost, "I may not be able to promise you things like freedom or security." Shocked, the chef ghost didn't know what to say. Yulin promised him he could give him an endless supply of booze. The chef ghost replied, "Since you're willing to spend so much for me, and we share a bond, what's the harm in going through fire and water for you?" He took the Yulin contract paper and smiled, saying, "Good booze and scrumptious food don't matter. The important thing is to venture with you, my brother." As he dropped his blood on the contract paper, Yulin became Chef Ghost's master. A system notification popped up, congratulating Yulin for successfully signing a contract with the ghost, Jiangju, and asked Yulin if he would like to see his attribute panel now. Yulin asked the system to show him Jiangju's attribute panel. Contractor, Jiangju level. Malevolent Ghost Yin. Awareness, 2,500 Yin force, 36,900 exclusive. Tool of Yin energy. Apron of Yin energy, Class A. Soul Cleaver, Class A. Special skill, Soul Cleaver, Slash. Surprised, Yulin thought, his attributes are 100 times better than mine, and his attribute panel is simply off the charts. He mused that the Underworld Inn might look like a rundown shack, but trouble actually lurks around every corner. If not for the restrictive rules of the dungeon or my system, the 6 of us might have cashed in our chips long ago. But for him, thankfully, things turned out well in this perilous dungeon. Suddenly, Jiangju knelt down in front of Yulin, declaring, "From now on, I'll be at your service." Yulin smiled and said, "No need for formalities here. I'll rely on you to take care of me down the road. It's such a wonderful occasion. Why don't we drink to it?" After that, both of them started drinking. After some time, a late system notification popped up stating, "The player in the dungeon won 3. Upon seeing this, Yulin thought, after contracting Jiang, the Underworld Inn dungeon no longer poses a challenge for me. Miss Li and the bearded man also survived, but that pink-haired woman was ripped apart for offending a customer while she was cleaning. The global menace is infested with nefarious ghosts, after all. Yulin has the system as a cheat, money, and the contracted ghost. But nothing is invincible. According to the bearded man, the game opens once every 2 weeks. He stood up from his seat and thought, I have to keep getting stronger no matter what. As Yulin was leaving the Underworld Inn, Miss Li stopped him. She thanked him for helping her, saying, "I wouldn't have survived my first day without you." Yulin replied, "No worries. Helping others helps me." However, she handed a piece of paper to Yulin, who wondered, "What is this?" She explained that in reality, she is from River City, and her family has some connections there. "So, if you need help in the real world, you can call this number to reach me." Suddenly, a system notification popped up. "Congratulations everyone on completing the mission. The Underworld Inn dungeon is over." After Yulin returned to the real world, he also got the contact number of Miss Li. Surprised, Yulin wondered, "What have I done?" As he checked the time, he noticed that it had been 2 days in Global Menace. Yet only a second had gone by in reality. So he called Jiang, and Jiang responded. Upon seeing him, he realized the contract with Jiang was still intact, as well as the necklace of grudges and the other artifacts. Sure enough, ghost commanders can bring ghosts and tools of yin energy back to reality. It seems that the increasing number of paranormal events in recent years were mainly the work of ghost commanders with evil intentions, making this world no longer safe. Suddenly, he remembered that Big Beard mentioned they've been called into the game every 2 weeks, so he didn't have much time to prepare. "I've got too many secrets. Now is not the time to contact the government. The forum is more suitable as a source of information than the Number 9 Investigation Center." He decided to set up a fake IP address to log into the forum, and started searching about the Global Menace Exchange Forum. The forum's official announcement was nothing special to him, but what most attracted him was one post from the Number 9 Investigation Center of Summer. As he opened the link, there were some rules. No use of improper means for profit. No use of supernatural means to hurt people. No voluntary exposure of the existence of global menace and ghosts in case of public panic. Any violators will face the consequences. Upon seeing this, Yulin smiled, thinking, with such official management, any ghost commanders with strength boosters will definitely restrain themselves. But I'm just getting started in this new world. The most important thing for now is to protect himself. So, he decided to take a look at the guide for players. As he downloaded the attachment file and read, he learned that all Global Menace dungeons exist in a place called the Ghost Realm. The Ghost Realm is vast and teeming with countless ghosts. However, the ghosts can only kill humans by clear rules. According to their strength, ghosts are divided into 7 levels, while human ghost commanders have 9 levels. After reading this, Yulin smiled and thought, my Primo Ghost contract can get me any ghost, regardless of the difference in levels. And the first one I've contracted is Jiang, a malevolent ghost. From the info on the forum, Global Menace has had 5 batches of closed beta testers, a total of 100,000 players. Except for the first batch, which is suspected to have been wiped out, all other batches have survivors. Some of them obtained soul purification liquor by luck in the ghost realm and became ghost commanders. Yulin had 2 bottles of soul purification liquor, and there's room for another. Suddenly, a message popped up on Yulin's screen. A new announcement from the forum, notice of the 4th offline trading rally. Curious, Yulin clicked on the announcement and learned that due to the launch of the 5th closed beta test, the forum would organize the 4th offline trading rally in River City. Registered participants would be informed of the specific time and address by private message, and anonymity would be maintained throughout the event. Players were encouraged to register by leaving a message. Is trading on the forum not enough to meet the demand? Yulin wondered. Wild Saber explained that online you can't see the goods in person, which leads to great risks. The best stuff isn't selling online, so the forum decided to provide a chance to meet face-to-face. Yulin smiled, thinking the folks on the forum were pretty warm-hearted. In that case, I'll register an account too. So he registered as King of Hades. 3 days later, a system notification popped up, opening the mightiest ultimate Tycoon system. Congratulations, host. You just received 6,452,000 nether tokens. Yulin asked the system to open the panel. As he reviewed his items, he thought, now it truly has the mightiest system vibe. Today was the day of the fair. He started heading toward River City. At 3:20 p.m. Monday, he received a new private message. Then, at 5 p.m. Thursday, he received details about Locker 046 at Golden Mall. After 6 p.m., he reached the River City West Ring Highway. And by 8 p.m., he arrived at an abandoned factory in the Filesk district of River City. This was where the government was organizing the trade fair. There were 2 ghosts standing in front of the door, checking everyone's ID before giving them permission to enter. Seeing this, Yulin thought the anonymous forum's offline fair was complicated but secure. The mask prevented people from prying with spiritual awareness, and the name tag was imbued with yin energy to prevent forgery. Suddenly, a man standing with Yulin told him that the 2 at the door were the maleficent ghosts of Yabai, one of the forum's founders. Quite the imposing duo. Upon hearing this, Yulin thought, so this level of yin energy belongs to maleficent ghosts. Indeed, it's far weaker than Jiang's. But since they're watching the door, they're certainly not Ye's aces. As Yulin's turn came, the ghost checked his ID and told him to wear the name tag, and that he would be free to join the fair. He was also advised that if he was selling items, he should go to the appraisal office first. As he saw the appraisal machine, Yulin remarked, the setup looks pretty modern. Can it really identify the class of yin energy tools and materials? Wild Saber, recognizing Yulin's name tag, remembered that he was that enthusiastic guy from the forum. Wild Saber explained that this was the official instrument produced by the No. 9 Investigation Center, which could divide objects into Class A, Class B, and Class C according to their spiritual energy. Each class had 3 levels. Some consumables and special goods that couldn't be classified, such as charms and pills, were evaluated by 3 senior players invited by the forum. So rest assured, buddy, Yulin thanked him for explaining everything. He realized that the government's technology and the strength of early players were more powerful than he had expected. Now was not the time to get carried away. He hoped his items and this fair would give him more confidence.